Who loses if the tongue decides to fight the teeth? You're welcome. In this episode, we shall try to finish. We shall try to finish the story at the paper. Live on Life of November 3 to 9, 2002. It starts with a sad story, but I think it's worth reading. Our Survival Tips by Dr. Kwesi Ofei Ajiman, New Life Clinic, Circle, Accra, telephone 021-221019 or 020-813-2295. A Doctor's Recovery, Part 2. We didn't do the Part 1, but it doesn't matter. We can read this one. Dr. Anthony Setilaru, the administrator of the Methodist Hospital in South Philadelphia, having been told that he had to have his left sixth rib removed to see if his prostate cancer had spread to other places indicated by the bone scan, wanted the operation performed the next day. I cannot operate on you tomorrow, the surgeon said to him, because it will be your 47th birthday. The next day, the staff paraded into the VIP room with a large birthday cake. They all seemed very happy as they sang happy birthday to him and tried to lift him out of the gloom. And tried to lift him out of the gloom. Even when he forced himself to smile, he was aware of the dissolution that existed within him. His life hung on the remote chance that the bone scan was wrong. But if it was right and there was cancer in the rib, he knew the consequence, and all the birthday wishes would not change that. Full stop. As soon as the birthday party ended, the worried doctor became extremely nervous about his impending operation to remove the rib, which is a serious and delicate operation. Full stop. New paragraph. Dr. Setilaru's many years in the operation room seemed to work against him, as memories of operation that went wrong reeled through his mind. Clearly, he thought the enormous amount of drugs he was taking, including morphine every 4 hours for the back pain, a variety of drugs for the surgery, and other drugs to help him sleep, created a deep paranoia or fear in him and made him believe that a mistake would be made when he got to the operation room. He was particularly worried that the wrong rib would be taken out. Full stop. In a panic, he called the head of the surgery and expressed his fears. To ensure that the right rib was removed, the head of surgery himself inserted a hypodermic needle into the rib itself, half an hour before the rib was removed. With the operation successful, all he could think about was the pathologist's report. When the report was ready, his doctor sent it to his room and sat at the end of the bed for a brief period before looking at him as if he wanted to give him the chance to read the bad news on his face. When finally he spoke, he said the bone scan had reacted to cancerous lesions, which meant that the tumors in his rib The breastbone, the shoulders, the spine, and the skull were all malignant. Oh my God. Any hope that he was holding on, any hope that he was holding on to must have suddenly vanished because Dr. Satinaru could not hold his tears. Oh, what a sad story. Mhm. Knowing that you are away, you are not very, very near death. Paragraph. The head of surgery and his colleagues had agreed that the other testicle also had to be removed to eliminate the male hormone testosterone to prevent it from spreading up from to prevent it from speeding up the malignancy and helping slow down the spread of the cancer cells and thereby extending the life of the doctor. He was, however, told that if he went through the third operation, he would very likely not be capable of having sex or even procreation. On the other hand, if he didn't have the operation, his condition would rapidly deteriorate and the pain would get even worse. So, no option. Bad option to bad option. Sad. Okay, would even get worse. The second testicle was removed the next day. This time, it was a much simpler operation as the anesthetic wore off Dr. Satinaru's just as wore off sorry as the anesthetic wore off. Dr. Satinaru just sat in his bed thinking he was no longer whole. I felt less than human. What was I felt less than human in brackets. What was I anymore? For a while longer, I just sat there and sobbed, full stop. Then I got off the bed and headed for the bathroom. Fear was in me like an electric current. I didn't want to know, but I had to. I removed some of the bandages. My full stop. My hand shook. I was able to urinate normally and felt some small gratitude for it. I had had some irrational fear that I might have lost everything. Then the fear got stronger. I reached down, touched my leg, and then the the emptiness, and then the emptiness. Full stop. A rush of shock and anger filled my stomach, and I swelled into my chest. Suddenly, I was consumed by a cloud of emotions. I bent down and knelt on the floor. No, dear God, no, he cried. Paragraph. Later that day, the minister at the at the first Unitarian church paid him a visit and tried to get him to ask for God's help. I'm going to die, in inverted commas. I'm going to die, he told him, but not before I've gone through a lot of pain. Very sad, isn't it? Okay. Despite the minister's having pleas, despite the minister's loving pleas, Dr. Satilaru admits he never felt more alone and helpless in his life. All he could think about was death coming on to him. He was like a drowning man looking for God in the water. Viewers, you can see why God doesn't allow us to know our time of death. This man is in pains, psychological pain, spiritual pain, and bodily pains, just knowing that he was not far away from death. God is great. Allahu Akbar. That's why he doesn't want us to know when we are going to die. Mm? Okay. Uh, uh, God, looking for God in the water. No, let me repeat it. He was like a drowning man looking for God in the water. 6 weeks after he had been 6 weeks after he had been discharged, he had a discussion with a colleague who suggested to him not to stop work. They discussed how a doctor could best help a patient with a terminal illness. His colleague was of the belief that the doctor should inform the patient of the gravity of the illness, but never made the judgment that the disease would be terminal. Hmm. There was always the chance that for some medically unexplainable reason, the patient might be able to pull through. One of the ways a patient would best help him, One of the way a patient could best help him or herself was to continue to feel of value, and not only to himself but to others. And one of the best ways of doing this was to work. So paragraph. So to work the doctor went, but pain became his main protagonist. Oh my God. Everything he did was affected by it. It was worse than ever, and the thought occurred to him many times to simply lump off his terrace and end his life on the streets below. However, he found out quickly that no matter how tormented he was, suicide was not an option for him. I love that. I love that. Suicide was not an option for him. Uh, some of the criteria for keeping him alive, Dr. Satinaro gives to Percodan tablets, which he took every 6 hours to provide him with a combination of pain relief and narcotic stimulation. Full stop. After taking the pills, he would suddenly feel that his life was manageable. Full stop. A rush of emotion would fill his heart. But of course, the, the euphoria would not last like all drugs. Would not last like all drugs. After a couple of hours, they wear off. They wear off the he. Oh, I can't understand this. After a couple of hours, they wear off. Then I think it is then. It's written. Then he would swing back into the depression, and the pain will be worse. Paragraph. On top of that, Dr. Satilaru became very bitter. He had gone into the hospital for the relief of his pain. However, he still had the pain, and it was worse than ever. The loss of his sexuality was a greater blow than any he had ever received. I don't know whether it's below. Okay, it's below. Was a greater. Sorry. The loss of sexuality was a greater blow. I'm sorry, listeners. The loss of his sexuality was a greater blow than he had ever received in life. I was never so sure of the power of the sex drive until it was missing. There was suddenly a void inside of me that I could never fill. Full stop. And every time I went to defecate, my empty scrotum there, hung there as a reminder that I had lost more than a part of my anatomy, even more than sex. Oh my God. Hmm. I was the only son of John Satilaro, and it was an ignoble end to a proud lineage. Oh, paragraph. What made it all seem worse for the doctor was that he was alone so much of the time. He had a few telephone calls from the colleagues from the hospital, but he was that much alone. Hmm. But the telephone call don't make him feel don't drive loneliness away. I don't think so. Okay. A few weeks after Dr. Satilaro had resumed work, albeit on part-time basis, his father died of cancer only a few days after he had been admitted to the Methodist hospital. His father's death brought his own death into sharper focus. He suddenly abandoned many of the delusions that he had had about his own that he had had about his own chances surviving surviving cancer, and began to prepare for death. Oh my God. Over the next few weeks, he sat he sat out to put his affairs in order. What affairs does he have to put in order? Hmm? Oh my God. To put his affairs in order. Full stop. In addition to his apartment, okay. I think yes, it's right. In addition to his apartment, he owned three other properties which he put up for sale. Hmm. He also sat down with his lawyer to rewrite his will to make his mother the sole beneficiary of his estate. Dr. Satilaro's father's funeral mass combined readings from the Bible by the cousin and himself reading the following passage from Reinhold Niebuhr's Irony of American History. Nothing that is worth doing can be achieved in our lifetime. Nothing that is worth doing can be achieved in our lifetime. Therefore, therefore, we must be saved by hope. Nothing which is true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we must be saved by faith. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. Therefore, we must be saved by love. No virtuous act is quite as virtuous from the standpoint of our friend or foe as it is from our standpoint. Full stop. Therefore, we must be saved by the final form of love, which is forgiveness. Full stop. The passage in the words of Dr. Satlaro was never more meaningful for him than it was that day. Very sad. Very sad. Okay. We go to another no, let's see. Yes. We go to another story, but not on this page. Let's open and see. Uh-huh. There's another story. Africanism, mother of Africa, and there is an African map there. Africans. Did you know? Double or triple question mark. The universal law of karma is destroying the iron white race, Americans, Europeans, today for their crimes committed against humanity over the past 6,000 years, finally. Yes, I don't know. We saw this, I can remember this story, the first part of it, but I don't know whether or not we read it. But nonetheless, we shall still read the Second part. Okay, it goes. Thursday, January 8th, 2008. Mm. If anyone is doubting this as a fact, then If anyone is doubting this as a fact, then just take a good look around at the world map and ask this question. Why are American whites and Europeans being attacked around the world today? Around the world today. Hmm. Wow. Paragraph. Of course, as it was already been stated in the foregoing that white Americans and Europeans are not safe to travel in such regions as Southwest Asia, East Asia, Indochina, the Middle East, North America, and parts of the Central and South America. Full stop. Of late, even around the Horn of East Africa, Somalia, Kenya, Tanzania, in brackets, it's no longer safe for white Americans and Europeans to travel on vacation. Full stop. Let us not forget the two American embassies that were blown up in Nairobi, Kenya, and Tanzania, respectively, in 1998, killing over 300 people. American intelligence agencies accused Osama bin Laden's Al Qaeda operatives as being responsible for the tragedy. Paragraph. The former USA American President George Bush Sr.'s presidential advisor Patrick J. Buchanan, Patrick A. Buchanan warns that the iron white race will become extinct beginning in the year 2050. Can you hear that? So should they also be preparing like Dr. Statilaru? Hmm? Will become extinct by 2050. Let me repeat that. Presidential, the former USA American President George Bush Sr.'s presidential advisor Patrick J. Buchanan warns that the iron white race will become extinct beginning in the year 2050. Note, historically, experience should have taught the black African race by now when the iron white race goes public to announce a tragedy, catastrophic horror coming against them, one can rest assured that if they said 2050, it will most likely happen sooner in the year 2010 AD. Hey, what a prediction. I don't know. They will never go public to tell the real truth nor seriousness of the immediate problem affecting them. So this presidential advisor should be a very intelligent person. Sorry. Not a single European country except for Muslim Albania has a birth rate that will enable it to survive in its present form through this century. Yeah, I remember this story. Okay. By 2050, only the tenth of the world's people will be of European descent, and it will be he the oldest it will be the oldest tenth on Earth with a median age of almost 50 years. Into brackets, taken from Patrick J. Buchanan's book, Death of the West. Can you hear that? Death of the West. Where have all the children gone? That's the title of the book. Where are all the children gone? These are excerpts from West Venom of Newsmax.com. Today, the Western world, iron into brackets, iron white. Iron is spelled ARYAN, dash white. Today, the West world Today, the Western world, into brackets, iron white, is just beginning to come to grips with the reality of what black African of what black African forebears into brackets priests of ancient Egypt predicted over 6,000 years ago. Full stop. Those predictions surely have come to be a self-fulfilling prophecy against the iron white race today. The world's population has doubled to 6 billion. This is about 20 years back. Has doubled to 6 billion plus in 40 years. Let me read this again. The world population has doubled to 6 billion plus in 40 years. Mhm. At the same time, the Buchanan says, at the same time, Buchanan says the European people, including Americans, Australians, and Canadians, have stopped reproducing. Their population had begun to stagnate in many countries. Into brackets, abidnewsmax.com, bracket close. The black ancient Egyptian priests left documented inscriptions cast in stone inside Khufu's pyramid, stating that the iron white race would be destroyed beginning on the date September 17th, 2001 AD, and therefore, into brackets, Love and Life newspaper, September 30th through November 11th, 2001, column under Africanism teacher Maulana. Maulana in, I don't know, it's Maulana. Is it Maulana or Maulana? Okay, Maulana, the name is Maulana. But Maulana in Arabic means our help, our protector, or our master, Maulana. mm. But the name here, I don't know if it has the same name, but this Maulana. Okay. It would it was, if one can recall, the writer teacher Maulana wrote a 7-part in-depth series of articles in his very newspaper, Love and Life, beginning September 30th through November 11th, 2001, under the column of Africanism, entitled The Year 2001 AD marks 2001 AD marks the beginning of the re-emergence of Black African civilization and the fall of Western iron white civilization. As for this writer, the foundational basis of writing such a controversial topic comes from over 26 years of research done throughout the Nile Valley, into brackets, Ethiopian, Sudan, and Egypt. Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt, bracket close, as well as in sub-Saharan Africa. I'm getting very disturbed about this, even though I read it at the time the paper came out. But considering the events of today, I don't know. Is it getting here? Considering the war going on between Russia and the world, let me see, Russia and the world, or the Eastern Bloc and the world, which the West call invasion. I don't know. Which Russia calls invasion, which the world calls invasion. Okay. In article number 6, article number 6, paragraph 3 of that 7-part series, I quoted a passage from the ancient Greek historian Herodotus. Yes, I remember this name. Herodotus, into brackets, 5th century BC, indicating that the black ancient Egyptian priesthood did not lie about their predictions. According to Herodotus, who happened to be Greek, Greek, as well as the oldest European historian to date stated the Egyptian priests possessed supernatural powers, were experts were experts in magic, control the minds of men, hypnosis into brackets, hypnosis, hypnosis, had the power of predicting the future and the power over nature by giving commands in the name of the divinity and accomplishing great deeds into brackets, Herodotus, the histories, book 2, pages 109, 177, full stop, bracket closed. Okay. The threats around the world that are presently prevailing against the Americans and Europeans should be seen in the light by black Africans on the continent, as well as those in the diaspora, as a clear cut knocking and wake up call for Africans to immediately distance themselves from dealings with iron whites. This is frightening. Mm, mm. It has become dangerous. It has become dangerous business to be in the presence of these folks. Full stop. Moreover, historically, the bane and woes of Black Africa's problems can unequivocally be attributed to the enslavement, colonization, and murder of African people done by white Americans and Europeans. This is an undisputed fact documented in the annals of history. Wow. Then, case and case and point how people of color around the world sympathize with African people. Okay. This writer distinctly remember This writer distinctly remember watching TV news in 1979 when the American embassy was illegally taken over in Tehran, Iran, by Islamic Revolutionary Guards under the directive of the late Ayatollah Khomeini, then spiritual leader of Iran, and who was labeled by the American government as public enemy number one against Western civilization. Full stop. During this time, the Ayatollah Khomeini was seen by white Americans and Europeans in the same light as Osama bin Laden is seen today. However, when the Iranians took over the American embassy and kidnapped the entire staff, thus one of the first goodwill gestures the Ayatollah Khomeini did was to free the African Americans who were amongst the embassy who were among the embassy staff workers, except for those ones working for the CIA. This is frightening. Okay. It was reported over the news media that Khomeini said that black people have suffered at the hands of Americans and Europeans just like Iranians, and and were not enemies to the Iranian people. Of course, immediately immediately, then American President Jimmy Carter condemned Khomeini's actions as a ploy to divide Americans. Okay, let's get to the last part of it. Reader, what is certain is that Western civilization, into brackets, white Americans and Europeans, is under attack today, and it is people of color around the world who are bent on bringing the civilization down at all costs. It looks like this is the beginning, 2022, 2023, because right now people are pulling out of America and ICC, and Africa generally joining Russia. I don't know. Hmm? So this is not a good enough story for the world and especially for the iron whites. Hmm? Okay, let's see. Uh, and it is people of color around the world who are bent on bringing the civilization down at all costs. The voice of the people is the voice of God. When such a spirit, when such a spirit is, when such a spirit in majority of the people is manifested, it takes on a universal character. Even the elements of air, fire, water, and earth that have been severely damaged and polluted by the iron white race have now turned against them. Thus, full stop, thus, such a spirit manifesting is no other than the universal law of karma. Full stop. When this law turns against you, nobody can turn it around. That's frightening. Hmm? It is universal in scope, coming from cosmos of heaven, and it is irreversible. The victims of this law are doomed. Well, I don't know. I'm frightened by this article because of the present events. Mhm. The number of the May 7th, May of the Cote d'Ivoire. Don't pay these teachers. Okay, there is a last part. There is still a last part. I don't know if we can finish it. Huh? It's a number of stories. They hate me for my tribe. Okay, this of Ghanaian perspective. Okay, the MD is flirting with my mother. Okay, let's maybe we can do something. By Nana Ama Jesse. Huh? Dear Nana Ama Jesse, the writer is Jose Mawuto. Uh, First of all, I thank the good Lord for sustaining you and your workers and your co-workers. I pray you will never let go or let go of until the years be, he has planned for you. Nana Ama, I have a very big problem, and it is that I have a boyfriend whom I love so much. We have known each other. We have known each other for the past 5 years. He is the type I would like to be my future husband. I'm 24 years, while he is 23. His family members hate me so much because I refuse to fellowship in his brother's church, and also because I am an Ewe and he is a Ga. So Ewe and Ga, there are different ethnic groups in Ghana. Mhm. Mhm. Uh, they don't want to see me. They don't want to see or hear from me. Worst of it all, this guy sometimes tells me that he hasn't tied me to the relationship and that he can leave. That is when I complain of the family barrier. Nana Ama, what should I do since I love him very much? Advice. Hmm? Then here, he is a Saturday worshipper, whilst I am a Sunday worshipper. The advice, dear Josie, I I am afraid there is nothing much you can do if your boy himself, yes, says you are says you can leave if you want to. However, now, if you want to, now they hate you and also on religious and tribal grounds. So why worry your head over such a relationship? Go somewhere where you will be respected and advised. I think that's right. Okay, let's see. The MD is flirting with my mother. Hmm? Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm a Christian girl and 23 years and an SSS graduate. My mother works in one of the most popular companies in the country. A new managing director was posted to the firm about 6 to 7 months ago. This man is real player, even though he is married and have children. I, together with my younger sister, suspect that he and our mother are having secret affairs. In fact, we are not bold to confront mother because she is harsh and is not pleasant to us. Paragraph. Mom and dad's marriage is not the same since 3 years now, and we are much worried with the manager's affair also. I remember this story. Nana, Nana, could you believe that just recently the manager came looking for mommy, and when we saw that there was no one around except me, he took advantage and held my breast, kissed me, and even tried to finger me, saying I'm beautiful. I told him I was not interested, but he gave me a phone card before leaving for me to call him the next day. Hmm. Does he want to cheat on mother and daughter at the same time? Yes. What do I tell him? And how do I tell him? I know his affair with my old mother also. Worried girl. Answer. Don't ever ring this don't ever ring this man. And whenever he meets you, just greet him and leave. If you don't do this, he will he's going to reduce he's going to seduce you, and a big family sex scandal can blow in your face. I hope that it is the last thing you'll want you want you'd want to experience in this world. Okay, two small stories left. Uh, Only married men propose to me. Oh, another. Girls have problems, or women have problems. I'm a 21-year-old lady preparing to go to tertiary institution. I have a problem with I have a problem which keeps on hunting and bothering me. Nana, ever since I started going out with the opposite sex, I've never had a lover of my own. Married men and boys who have girlfriends are those who propose to me. They keep on telling me I have a great body. Those who have no wives and girlfriends don't fancy me one bit. They are not the type I would like to move with. Not that they don't fancy you, they are not used to women. Simple. These people are approaching you because they have wives, they know how sex is, they are used to. Those who don't approach you, they don't because they are not used to women. Like myself, I'm not used to women, even with my age. I can't just go and start talking basa basa to women. They say the same with women banza. Okay, let's see. They are not the type you would like to move with. Those who have okay. Those who have wives and girlfriends don't fancy me one bit. They are not the type I would like to move with. Please advise me on what to do because I want a lover of my own. I need someone to call my own, someone to satisfy me. I need real love. Please help me, worried girl, Takradi. And the answer, hello, Nana, oh, I think I cut out the answer. Okay, let's leave that. Then, another story. We've never had sex. Hello, Nana. I'm Jesse. I'm 19 years. I am 19-year-old age. I don't know what this English is. I am. Okay, let me add. I am a 19-year-old. It doesn't make sense. I am 19-year-old age, and he is 23 year old. Okay, take it like that, viewers. We came from the same hometown. Oh, sorry, we come from the same hometown. Uh, we've been in a relationship for 1 year now. Nana, I love him very, very much, and he also loves me very much. Some of his family members know about our relationship, and some of mine also know. We used to call and write letters to one another. He comes from a very big, rich family, and I am also somehow rich. Now, he has gone to school at KNUST, that's University of Science, Kumasi University of Science and Technology. He sometimes sends me money. Even today, I received 50,000 cedis from him. We love ourselves, but Nana, we have never and never had sex before, and I'm still a virgin. Nana, my problem is that he has refused to go to church. As I am a Christian, I can't befriend an unbeliever. Please, I'm confused. Please help me. May God bless you very much. Like usual, the answer is cut off. I haven't, for some reason, I removed the answer, but I think this is okay. So, viewers, it looks like now we've completed the paper. Since stories that are worth reading, I have read, except a few like Dilemma of Maid Servant. They're just stories by individuals, which come in a series uh, every week. So that is it. Let's stop here. But honestly speaking, I'm very much afraid about these iron white stories about Americans and Europeans. When today it looks like the world is turning against them, the world is seeming to support Russia and China in the present war against the whites. And even the whites themselves, the Americans themselves, are telling the truth about their leaders, about their rulers. It's a frightening story, but let's hope and pray. Mm. According to this paper, it's probably the beginning of the end of the iron white people, that's Americans and Europeans in general, according to this paper and according to the happenings today. So let's go down on our knees and pray. It might affect everybody. To the extent that this paper is advising Africans in the diaspora to try dissociating themselves from whites. You see, this article was written about 21 years ago, you see, and the writer says it's those who predicted these events are reliable people when it comes to predictions, when it comes to foresight and seeing things in the future. However, prayers prevent a lot of mishaps. So let's go down on our knees and pray. Whatever be the case, they may be needed. They are needed in the world. They've helped a lot. I've been taught by Americans and Europeans and whatnot. I'm not the only one. They've helped somehow. However, let's pray. That's all I can say. Thank you very much. Ila likai. Bye bye.